The penultimate episode of the Transfers FC. Deadline day will soon be upon us, and Arsenal still have so much to do. So let's find out today what David Ornstein has said about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. What updates do we have on the transfer of Alexander Isak, and are Arsenal planning a potential deadline day madness? Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baus14 and we are here, the penultimate episode of the Transfers FC. I got an announcement to make. If you guys want to see your boy live tomorrow on a transfer deadline day live stream, like I always do, if that's something that you guys want to see, make sure to let me know down below in the comments. But smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, help your boy on the 80k, but let's get straight into this. Getting straight into the Arsenal transfer news and starting off with Arsenal's centre forward updates. And starting off with the deal closest to happening, and that is the ex-Arsenal captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who looks likely to be on his way to Catalonia to FC Barcelona, because as the very reliable David Ornstein has revealed in an exclusive, Barcelona are close to reaching an agreement with Arsenal to sign striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on loan for the rest of the season. Ornstein also claims it's believed that Arsenal would not receive a loan fee, but Barcelona wants to cover as much of his wages as possible. However, that may be complicated by their financial state. No option or obligation to buy is expected to be included in the proposed move. So agreement is very close between Aubameyang over to FC Barcelona, but the most important part about any transfer is his overall wages. Now, as David Ornstein says, they Arsenal are getting a loan fee, but they're looking to get their wages over to Barcelona. And according to Gary Jacobs of the Time, Barcelona are expected to pay the bulk of his full wage of £350,000 per week. Now, this is very important because, of course, the Arsenal manager flew over to the USA to hold a meeting with the Arsenal owner Stan Kroenke, and a massive part of that meeting was the future of Aubameyang. So if Arsenal are now getting his wages out of the door at least until the end of the season, well, yes, it is a sad ending to his Arsenal career. With those wages off the book, it gives Arsenal far more wage room to sign a massive striker as well. Ornstein has also confirmed that reports that Barcelona could not land Aubameyang unless they shifted Ousmane Dembele are thought to be wide of the mark. I myself am low-key sad because, of course, he's given me so many great memories. But in terms of Arsenal, it's all now looking to the future. If Aubameyang leaves Arsenal, surely Arsenal have to sign a replacement. Well, on the replacement, according to Dean Jones, he claims the deal for Aubameyang exit is opening up the chances for Arsenal getting a forward, and one of his good sources has told him they have someone lined up ready to go. Watch the space. Aubameyang going to Barcelona opens up a massive possibility of Arsenal signing a brand new centre forward, and their main target, of course, is the Swedish international Sociedad sensation that is Alexander Isak. Of course, in terms of yesterday, we had a massive video where we discussed Isak being spotted in London. But in terms of David Ornstein giving an update on the transfer, he says a sighting of Sociedad's Isak in London on Saturday fueled speculation the Swede, who is a long-term target, might be switching to the Emirates Stadium, but there are currently no developments in that regard. So no massive update there from Ornstein, but what he has confirmed is that Isak is indeed a long-term Arsenal transfer target. And that is very important because, as James Bench says here, as for replacements, Arsenal's view of the January striker was they were open to bringing the summer business forward for the right player, but there is nothing close. Where this is very important is that Arsenal have made it clear they're willing to spend a lot of money on a long-term striker they might have targeted for the summer to bring him in this transfer window. And so with that being the case, and Isak being a confirmed long-term target, ultimately speaking, his price tag is not going to go down in the summer. And if they are paying that same sort of money now that they're going to pay in the summer, then why not get him 6 months in advance? But in terms of how much money we're exactly talking here, is a lot of money. Arsenal were initially confident they could negotiate a fee lower than Alexander Isak's release clause, but they have been now told by Real Sociedad they will need to pay the full amount. And in terms of how much exactly that release clause is worth, £77 million and €90 million. It is a lot of money, especially for a player still 22 years of age, and in terms of the elite level, still relatively unproven. But if Arsenal are serious and if they think Isak is worth it, Arsenal have a history of deadline day release clauses, especially with La Liga players. Go back to the summer of 2020, let's talk about Ghanaian Thomas Partey. As Fabrizio Romano tweeted back then, Atletico were convinced that Partey was going to stay, and that they were not expecting his clause to be activated. And so ultimately the question falls to Arsenal Football Club. Do they think Alexander Isak is worth that £77 million up front in a one-off payment? I thought financially Arsenal have the facilities if the owners step in to make it happen. And the beauty of release clauses is you can get the player like that, there's no negotiations, and as long as you agree personal terms, the player is all yours to take. So in theory speaking, if Arsenal pay that £77 million, Isak is all for Arsenal to take. But the most important question to Arsenal and to you guys is, do you think Alexander Isak is worth £77 million? It is a gargantuan question for Arsenal Football Club. Let's see how they answer it going into tomorrow. But if they can't get Isak over the door, what about a more short-term striker? Well, according to Diario Sport in Spain, Alvaro Morata is an option for Arsenal, who are desperate to sign a striker, with assistant manager Miguel Molina having personally called the Spaniard to persuade him to join. Alvaro Morata is just a really weird striker, because you can't play for Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Chelsea and Juventus and not be seen as a very good player. And in terms of the modern day striker, he has all the abilities to drop deep, link up play and give Arsenal a good reference point. But the issue with Alvaro Morata has always been his confidence in front of goal. When this guy is hot and firing, this guy can score goals from all sorts of angles. But when this guy's confidence is low, forget about this guy. He's basically just as good as a League One striker. So with that lack of confidence in front of goal and him not being a real sustained goal scorer, I see aspects of his game that I do like, but I just don't think he's Arsenal's guy. But in terms of Arsenal, as many reports have claimed, we are getting desperate. So with Aubameyang potentially going to Barca and maybe Nketiah going to Newcastle, that would leave Arsenal with just Alexander Lacazette as our only centre forward option. So with that kept in mind, if you were given the opportunity to sign Alvaro Morata on a short-term loan transfer until the end of the season, if we can't sign Alexander Isak, would you want Arsenal to sign Alvaro Morata? But in terms of Arsenal, they've pursued a centre forward throughout the entirety of this window, from Dusan Vlahovic, Jonathan David, Calvert-Lewin to now Alexander Isak. Are they going to sign a striker, my friends? Tomorrow is the day of days. It is Judgment Day. Let's wait and see what they do. Okay, moving on to the other Arsenal transfer news, and starting off with another potential close deal for an Arsenal striker outgoing, we're talking young striker Edward Nketiah, because as the Telegraph claim, Newcastle are working hard to sign Eddie Nketiah and Matt Targett ahead of tomorrow's 11 PM deadline. Newcastle hopeful of signing at least one of the two players. And in terms of both players, according to The Athletic today, a deal to sign Matt Targett from Aston Villa appears to be unlikely at this stage. So with Targett looking unlikely, Nketiah could be Newcastle's main focus, who of course right now is, and even according to Ben Jacobs, Nketiah to Newcastle is a very possible deal ahead of tomorrow's deadline. So if Newcastle were to sign Nketiah though, if Arsenal allow that to happen in the first place, the lack of striker numbers are getting really worrying, because even in terms of our other young strikers, not only is Folarin Balogun left on loan, but even in terms of Arsenal's young Swedish striker Nikolaj Moller, as confirmed by Chris Wheatley, he is also set to leave on loan. I just don't understand how Arsenal can let go of Nketiah and Aubameyang and Balogun in the same window without signing a striker. It is a massive day for Edu Gaspar tomorrow and Mikel Arteta. Arsenal need to strengthen in that centre forward position. Who are they going to sign? Who are they going to let go of tomorrow, my friends? Again, it is Judgment Day. Newcastle United have confirmed the signing of ex-Arsenal target Bruno Guimaraes, as they say they're thrilled to announce the signing of Guimaraes from Olympique Lyonnais on a 4.5-year deal. But in terms of Mr. Guimaraes, he did use quite a bit of Arsenal's name in his official announcement video. We get it, my friend, you were desperate to join Arsenal Football Club. Of course, you don't want to go to relegation fighting Newcastle. But when they offer to quadruple your wages, of course you're going to accept. But the most important factor is, in terms of Arsenal, they were never fully sold on Guimaraes, hence why they never made an offer. So ask yourselves the question, if Arsenal really wanted Bruno Guimaraes, who is quite clearly available from Lyon's side, where the finance is clearly available, why they did not go and sign it? For me, it's been made very clear they have got another target in mind, and that target plays within the Premier League. So whether that's Yuri Tielemans, Yves Bissouma, maybe even a Ruben Neves, these are all transfers that are far more likely to happen in the summer transfer window instead. Arsenal have tried their hardest to sign a short-term midfielder like Arthur Melo, but with that not coming into fruition, my question to you guys is, do you trust Partey and Xhaka to get Arsenal into the Champions League places? Because as things stand, it looks like Arsenal aren't going to be signing a brand new central midfield. Of course, as always with a transfer window, you just never know what's around the corner. Okay, let's move on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with Arsenal's young English winger out on loan at Feyenoord in the Dutch league, we're talking Mr. Reiss Nelson. And in terms of the Feyenoord manager, he says today the talent is there, but what Reiss still struggles with is creating big chances for himself or his teammates. You see a lot of skill, speed and agility, but the final push is still missing. Then it is not just a finish or just not an assist. So far, Reiss Nelson has really struggled to create any sort of impact down there in the Eredivisie. The fact that he's now 22 years of age, with all due respect, if this guy can't do it in the Eredivisie, how is he expected to come back to Arsenal and to push the Arsenal first team? Per Mertesacker on the Arsenal Academy says, we build youngsters to play in the team, to play football, to play the game they love, but teach them to do it with respect, discipline and humility. We do a lot of stuff that makes them more aware and hopefully happier to live a more fulfilling life. A very good quote there from Per Mertesacker, and it's very important that Arsenal do keep these Arsenal youngsters in check, because when you give these guys massive amounts of money, these guys living in London, a massive city, there is a massive opportunity for these players to potentially go astray. And so in terms of Arsenal, it's great to see, like Per Mertesacker says there, these guys are doing stuff behind the scenes to keep these players on track, to keep them focused on what matters the most, and that is the football. Bringing it back to Arsenal's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, because as pointed out here, 163 games for Arsenal and 113 goals and assists, pivotal in our FA Cup trophy run, scoring a double in both semi and final, which is nothing but the best for Aubameyang at Barcelona. And all I can do is really echo those words as well, because in terms of individually, Aubameyang has had a very successful Arsenal career. Bought for a fee of £55 million to score goals, Aubameyang has certainly done that. And yes, in terms of the last year or so, it hasn't worked out for him, but in terms of how consistent of a goal scorer he was, the go-to player that Arsenal had there, scoring goals in very important games, you just can't fault the individual impact this player had on the Arsenal first team since signing for Arsenal back in 2018. And so yeah, for me, it is a real shame to how it's come to an end. I wanted to see him get a far better send-off, but it looks like in terms of the Arsenal hierarchy, they have come down to the decision that this is the best time to move Aubameyang on. But all I can really say is, in terms of Aubameyang, just a massive thank you and best of luck wherever you go next. And so if I was to rate Aubameyang's Arsenal career out of 10, I'm going to give him a solid 8.5 in terms of individual player, because ultimately speaking, he was brought into Arsenal to score the goals, and on that behalf at least, he has certainly done that. But what do you rate Aubameyang's individual Arsenal career out of 10? Let me know down below in the comments. But if Aubameyang was to leave Arsenal, that would mean that we would only have 18 first team outfield players left, and that is including Eddie Nketiah. So if he leaves as well, then Arsenal only have 17 outfield players. So with that kept in mind, for me, Arsenal are taking a massive risk, especially in that striking and central midfield department. So that's why for me, tomorrow is that much more massive, that much more gargantuan, and the pressure is well and truly on the Arsenal technical director Edu Gaspar and the Arsenal recruitment team. Will they activate Alexander Isak's release clause, or are they going to get a short-term striker instead? Tomorrow really and truly is a gargantuan day for Arsenal Football Club. But let me know your own thoughts going into transfer deadline day, and what you think should be Arsenal's priority. But that is the video there and there. If you guys have enjoyed, smash a like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you would like to follow your boy on them social medias, then the links will be down below in the description. But that rounds up the penultimate episode of the Transfers FC, and tomorrow is gargantuan, and I'm so nervous but excited at the same time. I don't know what's gonna happen, I don't know what Arsenal have in store for me, but hopefully it is a centre forward. Anyways guys, I'll see you next time, potentially on a live stream in a bit.